Welcome to the MaxBang. My name is Max, and I like to forget to upload MaxBangs for months at a time. Forgive me, I'm just turning on my heated mug to warm up my cup of coffee. MaxBang is a 30-minute, half-hour hangout. MaxBang, look at how out of practice I am. My gosh, MaxBang is a half-hour hangout where we just sort of chit-chat. So grab a cup of coffee, and how's your mother? Today I'm drinking coffee. I'm drinking the tail end of my morning coffee. So what happened today? I was supposed to record an episode of a podcast, the Total Fit Heads podcast that I do with Allie, and we mixed up the days. So I already had my day set up, or I already had everything else set up. So I figured, hey, maybe I'll just do a quick MaxBang. Apologies for sort of falling out of favor with these. A lot of stuff came up, and unfortunately, this fell by the wayside. But we're back, and if you really like these, let me know by hitting that like button. That tells the YouTube algorithm that this is sort of quality video. And if you want more of these, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to this channel, the MaxBang channel. MaxBang was a combination of podcast, mukbang, and Max. I originally thought of calling it the MaxCast, but it doesn't sound quite as funny, does it? No, it doesn't. In the spirit of getting back into things, I thought we could do a fun little game. I went and found a random question generator. And so I thought I would do a couple of random questions, and we'll just see how that goes for a little while and go from there. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 5, how afraid of the dark are you? Wow. That is a great question. 3. It's not a 0. I mean, I think, as much as I'm not afraid of the dark, I don't love it. Who does? I really prefer driving during the daytime to driving at night. I think that's a huge thing that most people sort of forget about. And I don't really know why, because it's way easier to drive at night than it is to drive during the day. Am I afraid of monsters? Not anymore. When I was a young warthog. When I was a young warthog. When I was a young boy, I was very, very afraid of 3 things. 1, Chucky, the doll from Child's Play, the movies. I watched a bunch of 80s horror movies when I was obviously too young. I don't know why I watched. I think my aunt and uncle really liked them, so I just sort of sat and watched them. Old ones, like Leprechaun and Freddy Krueger and Friday the 13th and all that stuff. So my my role models used to let me watch them, or I would watch them sort of off by my lonesome, just because I like to scare the piss out of myself. And the doll from Chucky the doll from Child's Play scared the absolute shit out of me. Why? I don't know. I remember very vividly that there was one. I don't even know which ones I've seen and which I haven't. I think I saw part of 2 and part of 4, but not 1. And I'm sure I watched them all through my fingers like that. But there was one scene in Child's Play where he's walking towards the person, the woman, maybe the mom, and she has a gun. She blasts his head off, and he just keeps walking at her. And he blasts his arm off, and he keeps walking at her. He's got a butcher knife. And then he blasts his leg off, and he sort of falls. This this headless, armless body. And he's still trying to crawl towards her to kill her. And I remember that burned in my brain as holy moly, that was terrifying. So that scared the piss out of me. Number 2 was Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger was a big one who scared me a lot because he had the hands. I actually never even watched a lot of Nightmare on Elm Streets. If I actually had watched them, I've since done that. They were really funny. He's funny. You know, it's like clearly tongue in cheek. A lot of the terror is not so much scary as it is as it's more funny, I would say. So if I had only gone and watched them, I'd probably be in better shape. But I was very scared of Freddy Krueger, and then I was most scared of tarantulas, big old spiders, because I watched Arachnophobia, which is also if I went back and watched it now, it's like silly more than scary. But Arachnophobia scared the crap out of me. There's a couple scenes in that one is where the girl's in the shower and the spider's on the shower head and it jumps on her and it like slides down because it can't get a grip on her. Every time I take a shower now, I check the shower head for a spider. And also there's one where the grandma reaches into a lamp and a spider drops down on her hand, bites her, kills her, bang, dead. So now when I check lamps, I always look through the top, try to see if there's a murder, a spider there. That's gonna be my last day on Earth. Now, the kicker in all this was when I was trying to fall asleep and I was scared of these horribly terrifying figures. I had a plan, and this was my plan. When I knew that all 3 of them, Freddy Krueger, a giant tarantula, and Chucky, were all going to enter my bedroom at the same time to kill me, obviously. So my plan was, and this made total sense to me, obviously. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, yeah. That works. That works. My plan was just to simply tell them, listen, guys, only one of you can actually kill me. You know, you can't all kill me because only one of you will really get the satisfaction of taking my life. Do you really want to let the other guy do it? And then I hoped that I could convince them to kill each other, or at least to kill 2 of them. And in a perfect world, they would both kill Freddy Krueger, and then the tarantula would kill, or Chucky would kill the tarantula, and then I felt I had my best chance against the Chucky doll. Was going to get iced by Freddy Krueger. He's an adult man. I'm a small boy. Big tarantula. Yeah, I'm bigger than a tarantula, but it's like he's faster. He can climb up walls. He jumps. The spiders in that movie were terrifying. For some reason, I thought I had my best shot was against a doll. I guess we'll see. I guess I'll check back on. I'll let them know tonight. I'll see if they come by tonight, and I'll check back and let you know. But yeah, for a long time, that was the scariest. That was the scariest I was of sleeping or of the dark or whatever. I also remember I had a recurring nightmare about getting squished to death in a junkyard. That was a real scary one because I had it like every night for like 3 years. Not a great one. But after a while, I sort of just learned how to sleep. And now I can't quite control my dreams, but I'm pretty aware of when I am dreaming. So I'm like, oh, cool, let's see how this goes. The annoying thing for me a lot of the times is I don't have fantastical dreams. I sort of have dreams where I'm like making dinner or like driving to work, my old job or whatever. And I'm sort of like, hey, brain, we could have done literally anything. I could have been a dragon on the moon fighting a Decepticon or whatever. You know what I mean? But instead, we're making a turkey sandwich. Cool, brain. Really cool. So what was the question? On a scale of 1 to 5, how afraid of the dark are you? I would say I'm not that bad. Bad, but not that bad. At night, I don't like going out at night. I've never been mugged, knock on wood. Oh, I was almost mugged, actually. I was almost mugged one time in college. A guy broke into my. Hold on one second. Sorry, I thought there was somebody at the door. A guy. I was in the shower. This is a weird. This is a real weird one. I was at my gym. In college, I was a college wrestler. So if you're a college athlete, they sort of like give you a run of the place. I was working out. It was out of season. It was in the spring. I was working out. I had a tough workout. I went to the shower, took a shower, and I came back, and there's a guy like standing in my locker, and he like pulls his hand out of my locker, and I'm like, "Hey, what the fuck? Hey, man, what the fuck, dude?" And he was like, "What? I wasn't doing anything." And it was a little awkward because I had to like boss up on him, be intimidating, scare him into, if he took my watch or my wallet or whatever, give it back. The problem is I was completely naked. So like trying to fight a fully clothed guy when you're butt ass naked, I just remember thinking, I'm gonna slip and fall. I'm gonna bust my ass, literally. I'm gonna fall on my dumb fucking ass. Or I'm gonna naked fight this guy in the middle of some guy who like may or may not have been robbing me. Over what? Over my school ID? Over all the cash in my all the $8 worth of cash in my wallet? I ended up intimidating him enough, I suppose. This is the most awkward thing that I did. Was I walked right over to him. I got right in his face, and he was sort of like. At first, I could tell he like wanted to fight, and then he was like, "Oh my god, this guy's naked! Like, what is happening right now?" And I put on my socks and sneakers because I was afraid that he was going to run away, and that I would have to chase him. If I chased it after him when I was dripping wet, I would slip and fall. But if I had sneakers on, I could take him down. Now, mind you, I'm butt ass naked. So my literal plan, was to run after a guy, chase a guy through a college gymnasium, college athletic facility, naked. Luckily, it didn't come to that, but maybe someday it would. It was real like Patrick Bateman style, like, "Hey Max, maybe stop being such a such a meatball." Ugh, not great. Okay, how about another random question maker? Oh, and also the one of the points of these was a friend of mine, Katie Morton, has a podcast called Ask Katie Anything. Katie Morton's a fucking gem. Sure, her channel's awesome. Her husband Sean is awesome. I've known them for a while. They're very, very cool stuff. Cool guys. Cool husband and wife. But she has a podcast called Ask Katie Anything, and I think that's really cool. So if you ever want to ask me something, maybe we'll implement something similar, or at least a segment of it. Random question number 2. What is the dumbest thing you've ever cried about? I will say that one thing I've noticed for sure, and obviously this hasn't been for a while, but one thing I've noticed for sure is that for some very weird reason, unexplained reason, I get very emotional on airplanes. I will just be sitting there, and I don't drink on airplanes. I want to clarify that. I really don't like getting drunk on an airplane. One, I get sort of nauseous. I get car sick. Air sick is the worst. 2, seasick is the worst. Then car, then air. But motion is not my favorite. So I get seasick, so I don't like anything that would possibly upset my stomach. So when I'm flying, I'm like, no, I don't want to have a cocktail. That's insane. 2, I don't drink on an airplane because what the hell am I going to do on an airplane? When I drink, I'm going to get up and like dance, talk to people, play foosball, play air hockey, like play, you know what I mean? Like wrestle with my friends, like who knows what I want to do. I don't want to sit quietly in a chair and get sort of disturbed by turbulence every once in a while. So I'm not a big, and 3, I think it hurts with your jet lag It like destroy. You're like, when I get drunk on a plane, I can tell that my jet lag is really, really bad. I think that jet lag is number one, a factor of hydration. If you can stay super, super hydrated, maybe not even eat a lot on the plane, and then when you land, if you can break a sweat, then I have absolutely no jet lag whatsoever. If I'm at all dehydrated after my flight, or I'm tired or whatever, that's when I like lose a day or lose sleep or whatever. I think that hydration is very, very important. So I don't get drunk on airplanes. But what does happen, and I've noticed this more often than not, I'll be watching a movie and I'm like, it's just some dumb movie, you know? Real Steel with Hugh Jackman, where he's a robot boxer. Real Steel was essentially the movie version of Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And I remember specifically watching that one on a plane, you know, just sort of killing time. Killing time. That's what an air flight is, you meatball. And in the championship match, Hugh Jackman's robot is fighting the big bad robot. Hugh Jackman was an ex-boxer who now is a robot boxing controller. It's a great movie. It actually is a really, really good movie. And so the robot, Hugh Jackman's robot, loses its ability to be controlled by a remote controller or a controller or whatever, but it can still mirror. It has a mirror function, so it can watch, and it, like, if Hugh Jackman throws a punch, the robot throws a punch. So Hugh Jackman, who's this like sort of old washed up boxer who was great once upon a time, shadow boxes the final round of the championship match, and his son and his girlfriend like sort of watch him, and he's shadow boxing for the championship as a robot that he never got to do as a human. And they're seeing him in his element, and he has like actual joy in his eye, you know, because he's doing the thing that he loves, that he was made to do, that he's no longer really allowed or capable of doing. And, you know, I got a little choked up. And, you know, and I'm watching a movie and I'm like, am I crying at a Hugh Jackman robot boxing movie? And I was just like, wow, that is the craziest thing that's ever happened. Not only, you know, in the history of the world. And then it happened again with another movie, and again with another movie, and I'm like, well, there it is. It must be, you know, hopefully it's a factor of the altitude, not just I'm getting soft in my old age. But I mean, you know, it was a good movie, and I know that it has it tugged at my heartstrings for sure. And so, yes, the dumbest thing that I've ever cried about was the championship was Hugh Jackman robot boxing the championship the final round of the championship match in the movie Real Steel. What a movie. What a film. One of your stuffed animals' names as a kid. Oh, that is a great one. This question is, what was one of your stuffed animals' names as a kid? Most people had either a stuffed animal or a blanket, security blanket. Not to be gluttonous, but I had both. I had a small bunny stuffed animal, and the bunny's name was... Nope, you guessed it wrong. The bunny's name was Bunny. And that was a great stuffed animal. I mean, I couldn't go anywhere without Bunny. But I also had a blankie. And I called that Blanky. Man, you got it. You know me inside and out at this point. So I had Bunny and I had Blanky. And those were the two that I needed to go to sleep with every night. And I still have Bunny at home somewhere, I think. The dog might have relieved her of some of her stuffing a little bit over the years, but Bunny was a great Bunny, and Blanky was a great Blanky. And I never understood why people like sort of made fun of little kids for having security blankets. Well, why wouldn't you have one a security blanket? Calvin and Hobbes had one. Hobbes was cool. You know, what are you gonna do? Next question: do you put butter before putting the peanut butter on. That's disgusting. What? Do you put butter before putting the peanut butter on? On what? Do people put butter under their peanut butter? That is disgusting. No, that's not true. Why would you put butter on peanut butter? That's like putting tea in iced tea. Only gross. No. First of all, you never put butter on peanut butter. First of all, peanut butter is pretty unhealthy. I know that like peanut butter like sneaky tries to be we're a healthy thing. That's pretty fattening. Like every time I eat peanut butter, I can tell my gut hangs out about 150% the next day. Number one. Number two, if you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you don't need butter. That's disgusting. Number three, if you're the only thing you should really make with peanut butter is peanut butter toast, maybe a little cinnamon on top. Oof, that's a nice little treat. That's a nice easy peasy little snack. I remember one time when I was in grade school, I was at a kid's house. I was at a kid's house for the play date. A play date. I don't know if you're familiar with play dates, but kids used to go hang out with each other in real life, in person. And we would go do stuff. And so I was on a play date with this kid who we really weren't good friends, but my mom was like, he's a weird kid. You should go hang out with him. He's, just go hang out. Don't be an asshole. I was like, okay. So the mom decides to make me a sandwich. And she makes me a butter and jelly sandwich, which I always thought was like the grossest thing in the world. It wasn't toast. It was just like soft white bread, a bunch of butter, and a bunch of jelly. And for some reason, when I took a bite of it, I was like, blah, blah, blah. Horrifying. Even though peanut butter and jelly is actually one of my favorite sandwiches. But yeah, butter and jelly was not my favorite sandwich of all time. Although I do like some weird sandwiches. I like egg salad a lot. I like tuna salad. I don't like fish, but I like canned tuna fish sandwiches. My go-to sandwich is a Italian or a meatball or a chicken parm. We had this place, buffalo chicken sandwich is the best chicken sandwich I ever had. I mean, that was my favorite. We had this place in Boston called Mama Goose. And it was a pizza place, sub shop. We used to go there every single opportunity I possibly could. Still do. My parents live sort of nearby. My sister actually moved right next to it. I'm so jealous. So I went back, last year, 2 years ago for Christmas, whatever it was. I mean, I haven't traveled, I guess, in a full year. So I guess I'm not going anywhere. And I was like, I went back, just got my old sandwich. And the guy was like, hey, where have you been? I was like, oh, I moved 5 years ago, 10 years ago. What are you talking about? And he's like, oh, yeah, buffalo chicken sandwich, right? I was like, yes, that is the sandwich that I got. And I wonder how he could remember me. Oh, maybe it's because I went there every single day for lunch and dinner for 5 years. The good old days. Next question. Why can't women put on mascara with their mouth closed? I am not the person to ask. I've never deigned to tell women how to put on mascara, but that's a really good thought. Yeah. Not even gonna freaking touch that one. How many slices of pizza are you capable of eating in one sitting? Interesting. Let's start with how many do I eat? How many do I eat? 3. Usually between 2 and 4, which ends up usually being 3. Sometimes 4. 50% of the time I eat 3, 25% of the time I eat 4, 25% of the time I eat 2. How many could I eat? Gun to my head. Fate of the world on the line. I think I could eat a full pizza. I think I could eat 2 full pizzas. The thickness of the slice obviously matters. Sicilian pan style, that's a whole nother ball game, obviously. But I think if it came down to it, yeah, I could eat probably two. I remember I was eating pizza with a friend of mine one time, and she wasn't eating the crust. She was just fucking chomping it down, the sauce and cheese, and just throwing the crust back in the box. You know, that cardboard. I was like, what are you doing? You don't like crust? And she was like, I like crust fine, but I would like to keep space in my stomach for more pizza, for more slice section, not crust section. And I always thought that was just the smartest thing I've ever heard. Just like a total rebuttal of me scoffing at someone, like, oh, you don't eat crust? And she's like, no, actually, you know what? I not only do I not eat crust, but yeah, I thought about it. And it's a conscious choice. I am deciding not to eat the crust because I want to eat more pizza. So in reality, when you're trying to like gatekeep or whatever it's called, make fun of the way I eat pizza, maybe I'll making fun of the way you eat pizza. Oh, no, I don't eat the crust. Do you eat the crust? Do you waste stomach space on crust? You knuckle dragon crust eater. Yeah, not great. I do really wholeheartedly dislike Chicago pizza. I think it's stupid. It's gross. It's like a quiche. It's more of a soup, really, than a pizza. But I like Chicago style hot dogs. Chicago style hot dogs is hot dog, pickles, mustard, onions. Oof. That is a nice hot dog. Next time you go to the store, get a white bratwurst. That's my favorite. The Weisswurst. Okay. Would you let me slap you for $100? I'd let you slap me for a TikTok. I was going to say Vine. Would you dress in drag for $25? I'd do that for a TikTok. Okay, let's go with candid. These questions are kind of whack. It just says undefined. Last thing you bought. I bought a rack of Lady Gaga Oreo cookies on Amazon because I couldn't find them at the grocery store, and I wanted to get them for Brittany. What fashion trend do you wish would come back? Wow. Admittedly, I'm probably not the person to ask about fashion. I mean, I think a lot of these things I don't feel like I'm the person to ask. I was watching The Bachelor last night, not to brag, but it was the Women Tell All episode, and they were talking about how they're getting judged for doing this or saying that, or they're getting ripped on Twitter for being mean or what they did or said or whatever. And they went to the guy, Matt James, and one of the, they were like, what did you think of this drama between this girl and this girl? And he goes, well, first of all, I wasn't in their position. So I would never, and I'm not perfect in any way. And so I would never deign to sort of pass judgment on how they dealt with a situation. 1, I've never been in. 2, is very stressful. 3, is relatively unprecedented and unpredictable and blah, blah, blah. And I would like to think that these people did the best they could in that situation, in a tough situation that anybody is sort of passing judgment on is, I would never pass judgment on them because I'm not perfect and I've never been in that situation. And I gotta tell you, that was one of the best goddamn answers I've ever heard to anything about anything. Just to be like, hey guys, maybe we shouldn't pass judgment on something you don't really know a goddamn thing about, you've never been a part of, it's never happened. It's never happened to you. You've never felt that stress. You've never felt that anxiety and all this behind the scenes stuff that we don't even know about. Like, I'm not perfect. I would never pass judgment. It was like a great like reminder to be like, oh yeah, that's a good point. So maybe for the rest of the week, the one thing that I'll try to remind myself is don't pass judgment on anybody else, including and especially yourself, because the stuff that you're dealing with, the stuff that I'm dealing with, you, me, whomever, nobody knows. Nobody's had to deal with that stress. Nobody can, you can make a educated guess or whatever, but you can't. Just remind yourself that whatever you're going through, no one else is going through it. And so however you deal with it is however you deal with it. And as long as your intentions are good, I think that's A-okay by me. This has been a good little MaxBang, Mac, whatever it is. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this sort of style of content, subscribe to the channel. Have a great week. Keep banging. Mic drop.